Hi guys, I guess this is not my best profile, but I have seen your chat and it was really interesting. And the truth is that I wanted to reply, right? I have written down some points that you have mentioned, and I wanted to reply to you before getting out my home, because today I have to run some errands, So now today it's Sunday, right? But I have some commitments today, so that's why. And I wanted to record a video for you guys before getting out, right? Before stepping out my home, but I didn't have enough time, so I opted to do this. And even I remember that we talked with Manuel about this idea to sometimes, when it is possible and when it is suitable, we can reply by video like I'm doing now, right? I guess that it won't be always, right? Because, for example, when I post a video about the mountain, well, there's nothing a lot long that you can say about it, right? I'm really conscious about that, right? Because the only thing that you can say perhaps is that it's really beautiful. Now without further ado, I'm going to talk about your chat, which is really interesting. The first thing that I remember that I have written down was something that, you began talking about the weather, right? And it impressed me a lot. How cold is Chicago now, Manuel? I'm not sure if I didn't understand well, but you said that over there was minus 30 degrees Celsius. Well, perhaps it's Fahrenheit, right? A different scale, and in those scales, I'm not able to make a quick conversion, right? But it's extremely cold, right? Now we are here on summertime, and it's extremely hot. Actually, I'm wearing a dark t-shirt, which is something that it's not a good idea, right? If you're going to stay underneath the sun for a while, because perhaps you have heard that the black color absorbs over all the brightness, but the white color, it reflects all the brightness, right? So and in between black and white, or between white and black, there are a long range of colors, and they have different kind of reflections. So the thing, guys, is that impressed me a lot. And other thing that Bernadete has mentioned was that in winter, you live near to Sao Paulo, don't you, Bernadette? And they are not that prepared to winter time. They are not that prepared to winter time, because winter time is not that long in Sao Paulo, and that's and so that happens that when it's really cold over there, they practically they can't go out, because the city isn't prepared to really prepared to winter time. They are not there are no suitable facilities and other stuff, right? And yeah, and that's so true. When you said that, Bernadette, you remind me when I went to the very south of Chile. I went for holiday around 1.5 years ago. I went to Punta Arenas, right, which is the southern. I'm going to look that pronunciation. The southern city of Chile is Punta Arenas, right? Well, there is another town more to the south, right? But the proper city, southern city, is Punta Arenas, right? Well, but by the way, I have to say you that between Chile and Argentina, there exists a kind of controversy, discussion. It is a fun controversy about which is the most southern city of the earth, right? And Argentina says that the most southern city of the earth is Ushuaia, right? And we say that the most southern city is Puerto Williams, right? But the reality is that they say that Puerto Williams is really not a city, right? It's not. It's a town, right? And well, I guess that it's a fun controversy, but well, they have a reason in that, right? Because Ushuaia is a really huge city. So I have seen documentaries from there. I have seen some YouTubers who have been who have been. There was suddenly the car has braked up. Is that the word? How do you say it was a sudden break? So well, but I had the reaction. So well, as you know, we can be speaking in English, but in a moment of stress, we have to say we have to swear. We swear in our own language, right? Well, but the thing, guys, is that Ushuaia I have seen on the internet that it's an amazing city, and I follow some YouTubers who have been over there, right? And it's amazing. So I'll definitely like to go over there. Who knows? Perhaps someday. But the thing is that I've been to Punta Arenas, and these cities are really prepared to winter time. I have been in Puerto Natales as well, right? And well, I've been for only a day to an Argentinian. I have passed through some Argentinian cities. I have been to El Calafate, which is another southern Argentinian town or city, right? But the thing, guys, is that all these towns and cities are really well prepared to winter time, right? They have the suitable facilities. The bus stops are really comfortable, are really well constructed. Well, I have been to other cities of the south of Chile as well, and the bus stops are suitable and the facilities are suitable. And well, if you go into different buildings in these cities and towns, they air conditioned, right? They have conditioning. They are air conditioned, and so you feel really comfortable over there. So well, there is another thing that paid a lot my attention when I was over there, is that for example, in those places they aren't homeless, right? They aren't homeless people, right? Because in other cities of the world you can see homeless people, but in these places there aren't. And another thing that paid my attention were stray dogs, right? Here in Chile, stray dogs are really common, right? I don't know, perhaps in other places of South America it's a really common feature, right? Stray dogs. But the stray dogs on those places are really woolen, right? So they look a little bit like sheep, right? And actually there are lots of sheep dogs over there, right? Which is really nice. Sheep dogs are so cute, guys. They are so nice. I really love their temperament, guys. So that is really nice. So well, that's what I wanted to comment to you, Bernadette, about that. And well, continuing with my video, all the things that you have talked, guys, was really interesting. You Manuel talked about a phenomena called plateau, right? And it's really true. We tend to feel stuck lots of time, and the thing is that as you say, we like to remain in our comfort zones, right? Our comfort zones. And I guess that getting out of our comfort zones, it is so harsh, right? And it's something, for example, I have developed, I've been developing a kind of suitable language in English, but all we are really not used to using, for example, phrasal verbs, right? And we can express so many things, right? So many things without phrasal verbs, right? And well, that's really something which is really not easy to change, right? And so I definitely agree with that. So well, I have a computer. Other thing that I want to highlight is that you really look really younger, Bernadette. So well, you Manuel, you said that you are older than elder or older, right? Well, I have heard that the difference between older and elder is, well, it's not an easy it's not easy to differentiate those both words, but basically elder is more polite, right? And well, I'm taking advantage to read a little bit. Yeah, our mind is lazy, right? Our mind is lazy. And well, I don't want to get confused reading here, because now I'm on the red light of the traffic lights, and now I have to continue. Okay, what I was talking about? Okay, Bernadette, you really look really young, Bernadette. So I really have to congratulate you, and you have to pass on your receipt, Bernadette, right? Because you really look like you were in your 30s, your 20s, your 30s, right? Congratulations. And yeah, our mind is lazy. And another thing that you said, Manuel, is that we have to change our routine, right? In this learning English process, otherwise we'll get bored, right? And that's so true, right? I have said in other moments that English, there is a key concept in the English learning process, which is wideness, right? Wideness. It's a key process, and that concept can be applied to a wide amount of stuff, right? For example, you don't have to focus on only, for example, on grammar, or only on speaking, or only on writing, right? You have to study a wide amount of stuff. Also, you have to, and your topics have to be wide, a wide amount. For example, you mentioned at the end of your video, I don't remember when, that a good idea would be talk about politics, right? The continental politics, right? Well, I guess that a general view, right? Because this is really controversial, right? And we are here to talk about English, right? To practice English, not to fight in between each other. So we can have different standpoints, different mindsets. So that's okay. So I guess that there are other platforms that perhaps are more suitable to talk really controversial things. But I think that there is a point that we can. There is a kind of deepness that we can tackle on talking about politics and religion, for example. As you have known, for example, I have talked once about Mormons' religion, right? Perhaps, I don't know if, do you remember that, guys? I talked once about Mormons' religion, and it's so interesting. But basically, I don't wanted to convince anybody, right? I wanted to talk about this hypothesis, which is really interesting, right? So we always have to have respect, right? There are different points of view. And I remember once when we talked about this with Manuel, about the corruption of over here in Latin America, right? we here in Latin America, we have a really different mindset between in compared to speaking English countries, for example, right? And we talked a little bit about that, right? I have to say that I said a joke. Sorry if I said this joke again and again, but it was once when Wagner, another Brazilian member of Canguro English, he has posted a video once talking about the Brazilian flag, right? And I remember that it was so funny because he said that the Brazilian flag has a motto written over the Brazilian flag which says order and progress, right? Order and progress. And in those days there were so many problems on Brazil, and he said, okay, the Brazilian flag says order and progress, but here there is neither order nor progress, right? So it's really fun. So the thing, guys, is, well, I have to congratulate you guys, because you have recorded a really nice chat, nice and interesting chat, right? And it's really useful for us, and I definitely want to encourage you guys, if you want to speak about another topic, it'll be really interesting. You only have to agree on that, talk a little bit before recording your video, and it'll be really interesting. Okay, another thing that you have talked about, Manuel, calling to a store, right? It's really interesting. It's a really good way to practice English, right? So guys, it's well, you are lucky, Manuel, because you live in the United States. So but everybody has to look for a suitable way to practice English, and calling to a store, it's really a good idea, right? I still remember that, for example, when I was to Australia more than 4 years ago, my uncle used to call to some services, right, in English, and the other side of the line, the person was talking in English. But the thing, guys, well, there is something that happens that I have noticed with my uncle, is that I think that he really doesn't like English too much. I'm going to pause it a little bit because I've arrived. Okay, guys, I have arrived, but the thing is that I have forgotten my mobile, right? And by the way, I wanted to show you my mobile, which is really basic, right? So that's why I can't join to the WhatsApp group, right? Well, that is one of the reasons, right? Unfortunately, I wanted to show it to you. It's really basic, right? But the thing is, well, there is another thing. There is another thing why I have taken part in the WhatsApp group. I guess it's really interesting, but I'm a little bit overwhelmed, guys, because perhaps you have noticed that I I'm used to checking nearly every single video, right? And I make it's my method, right? And I write a comment, right, on the conversation thread. But on the boxes below, right? Conversation thread is another thing. And that's why sometimes, for example, most time I only write a short message, right? Sometimes I write a long message, but I'm not used to continuing writing, right, on a conversation thread. That's in related to what you are saying, Bernadette. I don't follow that. I'm going to, how do you say to this action? The horn. I'm going to sound the horn. I'm going to look up to that. The thing is that, I'm in the front of my girlfriend's home, but when I arrive, I'm used to calling her, right? But this time I have forgotten my mobile, so I guess that we are going to argue a little bit, right? She's gonna be a little bit angry. But I have the opportunity to talk a little bit more to you guys. I'm reading here what I was talking to you about my uncle. I feel that my uncle, he doesn't enjoy English very much, right? Something happens, so he something happens. He obviously he lives in Australia, but I felt that he has been stuck. He has been stuck for long, and he hasn't evolved in English, right? And I feel that he really doesn't like English that much, right? So I guess that my uncle nowadays he's around 65 years old, right? It's not a guess. I have the certainty, right? I remember it. And that's it. I remember that. That's what I wanted to say. He had to call sometime. That's a really great exercise when you have to talk to people. I had that opportunity when I had to talk to people and in Australia, in a store, and on some place like that, when I had to buy some food or something like that. That was great. There were other moments where there are different people have different accents, even in Australia, right? Even in between even among natives, right? They have different ways to talk, and that is a really difficult thing to tackle, right? There are some people which you can really understand very well, but there are other people that it's really difficult to understand. So that's why I understand what you are saying, Bernadette. I understand it. We tend to say that the most difficult skill is speaking, right? And then comes listening, right? But really it depends, right? there is a kind of listening which is really hard, right? Which is really hard to understand, right? So I guess that there is a kind of listening which is really harsh, right? Then comes speaking, right? Then comes speaking. Well, and the usage of proper English. And then there is a kind of, if I could say that the most difficult thing, perhaps, it is listening to harsh listening, right? Then speaking properly, right, with phrasal verbs, stuff like that. Then another kind of speaking, and then listening other kind of listening, right? Because, for example, our teacher Christian, I guess that we can understand him very well, but there are other people who we really don't understand, right? So that's really harsh. And let me see what more I have written here. That app, Google Voice, is amazing, guys. So I thank you, Manuel, for showing it to us. You have showed it to me in our last. I guess I'm going to go backwards a little bit. I'm going to turn on the car. I'm going to turn on the car, and I'm going to go backwards a little bit, because the thing, guys, is that I was under the shade, right? I was under the shade. I was under the shade, and now I am in the sun. But that was the problem, that I didn't. But I'm going. It's really hot here, right? It's really hot. Yesterday there were in Santiago more than 38 degrees Celsius, right? Incredible. And in other towns surrounding Santiago, there were temperatures more than 41 degrees Celsius. So imagine that, guys. So, well, I guess another thing that I agree with Manuel, right? And yeah, you have to have your own responsibility, right? You have to be your own coach, right? You don't look for coaches, right? I definitely agree with that. People lots of time they waste time looking for coaches, or looking for excuses, right? There are people looking for speaking partners, for coaches, teachers, right? And you have all the tools to study English, so we shouldn't be looking for excuses. And what more? I guess that this is all that you have talked about. So, well, now I'm going to concentrate a little bit to call here to my girlfriend. Unfortunately, I didn't carry my mobile. So let's see. Perhaps she hasn't listened to me. I have get off the car for a while to call her, but perhaps she didn't listen to me. Perhaps she didn't hear me. Okay. So, well, thank you very much for this amazing chat, Manuel and Bernadette, and I'm definitely looking for the next one, right? And well, perhaps we can chat we can chat, we three together. I guess I will be more I would have more spare time in a couple of months' time, and it'll be a great idea, right? And okay, that's all for now, guys. Bye bye.